Sanchez on the mound. He was brilliant in his return to the big leagues in Atlanta. Today, the Marlins just need him to beat the Mets. If the Marlins can take the Mets, bring out the brooms, it would be a big sweep.
Gorgeous day in South Florida. It's a baseball day in South Florida. The Marlins play a very important ball game against the New York Mets. The Fish have taken the first two. They've pumped their record up to 67 and 59. Cody Ross, nice imitation there. Uggs is ready to go. Here's the wild card standings. The Marlins picked up a game on the Rockies last night. They lost to the Dodgers. The Giants got a big home run, so they stay a game and a half up of the Fish. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. You preach in baseball, just win series. But when you get to this point and you win the first two and you're in a race, then you really want the sweep.
Yeah, and I'm still chuckling. Cody Ross doing a little imitation of batting stance guy. But, yeah, that's what you have to do at this point of the season. You have a chance to win the series. You've already done that. Now you have a chance to sweep. You need to do that, too.
It's come to that. Life imitating art there with Cody Ross. Catching. It's hard to find a catcher that can catch and can hit. The Marlins have two, and they've done both, especially since the All-Star break. And Ronnie Paulino had one of the biggest hits of the night last night.
He has had a couple of huge hits in Atlanta off the sinker baller Derek Lowe, a bases-clearing double. Last night off the sinker baller Mike Pelfrey, a big two-run homer. Look at since the All-Star break, these two guys have produced. And the other thing, Ronnie getting a couple of starts against right-handers, is hitting over 260, 264 with 3 of his home runs against right-handed pitching. So combined, those two guys with 15 home runs and over 60 RBIs.
Paulino is in the lineup in this ballgame. Baker's back is better. He's available to catch as well. And Paulino will be working with Anibal Sanchez. It was Baker that caught Sanchez in Atlanta. But if Sanchi throws the way he did in Atlanta, there should be no problem with either of them.
Absolutely. And I think all the pitching staff, they don't mind who they throw to between those two backstops. But Anibal Sanchez was absolutely terrific in his outing against the Atlanta Braves. We're all kind of anticipating how he pitches today against the Mets, but he had a good live fastball, excellent breaking balls, a changeup. He had all of his pitches working. I think the thing that impressed us is velocity.
And his job today is beat the New York Mets. Marlins would love to win this game and then sit back and see what happens and unfolds in baseball today and tonight. On the mound for the Mets is Tim Redding at 1-4. Redding's been bounced between the bullpen and the rotation. Marlins have had success against him in their history. So it's Sanchez, it's Redding, it's Marlins, it's Mets, it's day baseball. Hey, glad you're with us. BC is with us. We'll talk to BC. Craig will sit down. The Marlins glad to have this right field. They're back. First two,
And this is the final game of this three-game set before the Padres arrive tomorrow night. To get us underway, let's go down below to Craig Minervini.
All right, thank you very much, Rich. Good afternoon, everybody. A hot one here at the ballpark. I think the temp's going to be over 90 degrees, humidity. You know all that. But Brett Carroll is very happy to be here, thank you. He was in Nebraska yesterday, and he had one of those circuitous routes, but he made it in time for the game. We talked with him.
We had a little bit of a landing gear problem and weather problem, so I got here finally, but it took all day.
Where'd you start and what happened?
We started.
What time?
I started in Omaha at 6:30, and the flight was at 8. But as we took off, the landing gear wouldn't go down or up, wouldn't come up. So they wanted to circle back around to Omaha and get it fixed. But by the time they circled back around, there was a storm, so they didn't want to go back to it. So we had to go to Kansas City. Had to get off the plane at Kansas
Major League City.
Yeah, at least had to get off at the Kansas City airport, change airplanes, and then had to back everything up. So then we went to Dallas, then Dallas to here. So I'll be thankful next time we travel, so we won't have to avoid that stuff.
You got it. And by the way, Brett is putting in for the extra mileage, at least for his frequent flyer. Well, welcome back. I know it was a very tough departure. Probably, I'm just going to guess one of your toughest, if not the toughest, because you did everything you could. It was a numbers game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's never easy, but as you do it a few times now, and I've definitely been through it a few times, you start to learn the business side of it, and it was out of my hands, and it was good for me. I got to go down and play every day, and this team has been playing well, so hopefully now that I'm back, I can just continue to help them any way I can. Yeah,
last thought is just that. You go into a spot where you come back and the team is right in the middle of it, and you get to help out.
Yeah, absolutely. And whatever that role's been, defense, whatever. So it should be fun. It's a fun time of year, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
All right, good to have you back, Brett, and I can't wait to travel with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Brett Carroll, one of the real good guys you'll ever meet in the game, and he is a weapon for the Marlins, in particular on defense. But as he showed when he got some opportunity, and the ball club got a lot of confidence in him, he had 3 home runs, he knocked in 9 runs, and he was at least more comfortable offensively, and a factor too on both sides for the Marlins. We'll see how his role plays for the Marlins here end of August and into September. Are you ready for Game 3? The Marlins will go for the sweep against the Mets. It'll be Tim Redding, veteran righty, 1-4 against Anibal Sanchez, who's 2-4. Rich and Tommy have the call all set for you.
Of a Toyota during Toyota's Best for Less sales event. Toyota moving forward. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by Dolphin, carpet and tile. Guaranteed lowest prices on quality flooring. It's going to be a hot one here in South Florida. And on the turf here at Landshark Stadium, the Marlins getting ready to go against the Mets. Meet the Mets, greet the Mets. These are the Mets with all the injuries. Here's who's left. Angel Pagana's in center field. Wilson Valdez gets a start at shortstop. Daniel Murphy, the pride of Jacksonville, at first base. Jeff Francoeur has hit well since joining the Mets. Corey Sullivan had a big night last night, the former Rocky. Fernando Tatis, a couple of diving stops and a bunch of hits last night. Omir Santos, the catcher. Anderson Hernandez is at second, and Tim Redding is on the mound.
All right, we've told you a little bit about Anibal Sanchez. He's had a couple of starts against the Mets earlier this year. One good, one bad. On April 10th, a no decision. 5 innings, gave up 4 hits and no runs. And then on April 27th, 7-1 loss, 6 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs. But guess what? All 6 runs came in the first inning, 4 of them on the Omir Santos grand slam. So that one he'd like to forget. In his career, 2-2 against the New York Mets.
Marlins defensively behind Sanchez.
See how they set up today. No B squad out there today, Rich. Coughlin, Ross, Hermida in that outfield. It's bright, it's sunny. Cantu and Glode at the corners. Hanley and Ugla up the middle. Ronnie Paulino once again behind the plate. Talked to Cody Ross about the glare of the sunshine. The sun gets a little tougher later on, but the glare with balls coming off the bat is always tough behind home plate.
Here is Pagan. He'll lead it off with Valdez and Murphy to follow against Sanchez. And Honeybal's plight, of course, well documented. Pagan 1 for 7 in this series. Sanchez making his second start since coming back off the disabled list. He misses outside. The shoulder surgery that he had back in June of '07. He's had issues with that shoulder since. Made 7 starts with the Marlins and was 1-4 before that start in Houston. And he goes 3-0 quickly on Angel Pagan.
Remember in the start in Atlanta, the first inning that Sanchez had. It wasn't a pretty inning. He walked a couple of batters. He walked Infante, he walked Chipper Jones. But then he himself started a great double play, a 1-6-3 double play to get out of the inning.
That was Brian McCann that he got on the comebacker. 3-1 coming to Pagan. He swings and misses. Sanchez is a touch and feel guy. The biggest problem he had with his shoulder was throwing his breaking ball. And he said earlier this season, whenever he would throw the curveball, he would get a sharp pain in the shoulder. And if you can't throw that breaking ball for a strike, a guy like Sanchez, that's real trouble. That's a real bleeder in the left. And Pagan is aboard.
I'll say one thing, too, as a defensive player behind a pitcher on a hot day, a hot afternoon, you want to see strikes. You want to be active out there. The last thing you want to see a lot of 3-ball counts and just waiting around out in the hot sun.
Sanchez is a guy that typically works quickly on the mound. Here's Wilson Valdez. The Mets medical report is brought to you by the office of Dr. David Alchek, who again is front and center in the Mets game notes again today. Gary Sheffield day to day with back spasms, and of course in the last 3 days the Mets have lost Johan Santana and Oliver Perez. JJ Putt's out as well. Lance Broadway has replaced Perez on the roster. We did not see Broadway, the aptly named reliever in New York, but he is here, and if needed he could pitch. Pagan a threat to run. He has 11 bags this year. Sanchez, of the Marlins starters, is probably one of the best at getting to the plate quickly. And Paulino last night gunned down Louis Castillo trying to steal.
Yeah, as we've mentioned, Paulino's had a hot little run at throwing runners out, and overall on the season a little over 25%.
But again, you've got Sanchez, who has fallen behind a hitter. He fell behind Pagan 3-0. He's 2-0 on Valdez, who shortens the butt and takes a ball. Marvin Hudson calling balls and strikes. Hanley comes in to settle down Sanchi.
Well, you just hate to first 2 batters fall behind 3-0 to each, and he's done that. Now the hitter knows, Valdez knows, he's going to see fastballs.
gets low, and when you miss a bit, suddenly the strike zone shrinks even more. You don't get the corners, you don't get the ball at the knees or at the letters. Here's the weather, and it's hot. It's 90 degrees. There's no place to hide, and it feels like 100 degrees. Miccosukee, come play our way. So a single and a walk, and now you get into the danger zone of the Mets order. Guys like Murphy and Francoeur. That spot of the order also included in the first game of this series Gary Sheffield,
which is a little different than Delgado, Beltran, and Wright.
Absolutely. But it's not as if the Marlins are the only team that are going to play the Mets in the next month and a half. The rest of the National League gets a shot at the Mets, including the Rockies. The Rockies actually have 3 games against the Mets. Marlins chasing the Rockies, trailing the Giants as well in the wild card. There's a strike.
Atlanta plays the Mets. Phillies play the Mets.
And I think every team in that wild card race, be it the Rockies, the Giants, the Marlins, and the Braves, all have teams like this on their schedule. The Rockies and the Giants have a schedule with plenty of Diamondbacks and Padre games. Same with the Giants. For the Braves and the Marlins, they'll have the Washington Nationals. The Braves have had a whale of a time with the Padres, and the Padres come here next. And it's the old adage in baseball, Tommy. It's you can look at the record, but that doesn't tell you about the team that you're playing. It's how is that team playing right now
at that particular time. And I think the Marlins and Marlins fans can look back to that series in Washington against the Nationals, who swept the Marlins, but remember they were just at the front end of an 8-game winning streak.
And the Padres are playing very well right now. Sanchez comes back and gets a big strikeout. He punches out Daniel Murphy.
Well, it looked like he got him with a nice changeup. So all of a sudden, after struggling to the first couple of hitters, there's a changeup, a little sink to it, and gets Murphy. Nice pitch.
Now the ultra-aggressive Jeff Francoeur, who last night was 0 for 4 after getting 2 doubles in his first 2 at-bats of the series. You talk to some of the Mets, both in uniform and in front office, and a lot of them have been very impressed with Francoeur, not only on the field, but in the clubhouse. He's been a nice influence on a team that's lost so many guys to injuries.
Yeah, you're right, and we've heard that, and it's good to hear because I think most people like a Jeff Francoeur, a guy who plays hard. I mean, he's playing with a ligament damage in his left thumb.
That thumb will have surgery. He'll, I'm sure, has already text messaged Dr. David Alchek and made an appointment for October to get that thumb fixed.
But Rich, when he texted him, he had to use the right thumb.
You know, he told me yesterday, he said it hurts the most out in the field when you put a glove on. He said when he puts his glove on his hand, it just aches.
Let's just say if he were a catcher, he'd not be playing.
No. But as Niner pointed out the other night, if it was on his right hand, he wouldn't be able to hit. Since it's on his left, he can compensate with those lower 3 fingers. And he tries one into center field. Ross is there and makes the catch. Francoeur hits it on the nose.
A little bit of a break, I think, for the Marlins and for Sanchez. Even though Francoeur hit that ball well, it was a 3-0 pitch. He had the green light. So a pitch away from maybe loading the bases. Francoeur with the line drive out, all of a sudden 2 men down.
So this has not been a thing of beauty for Sanchez, but as you pointed out, neither was his first inning in Atlanta. Here is Sullivan, the former Rocky, who was 1 for 3 last night with a single and a sacrifice fly. What to know? Sullivan been in the minor leagues with the Mets part of this season. There's a strike. The pitch count is of concern, but I think a more concern, look at the ball strike ratio.
And hopefully he can turn that around if he gets through this first inning.
Here's this 1-1.
But you check on that velocity, that was where we saw him in Atlanta, right around that 92 to 94 range. But after the first inning in Atlanta, terrific command.
Little tapper up the line. It's Globe who steps on the bag, and just like Atlanta, little wobbly, but no runs. From this point on, 36 games left for the Fish, including this one. So here's the lineup for the Marlins. Pencil it in. Heck, write it in pen if you want. Chris Coughlin in left field. Ross Glode gets the start at first base. Hanley just keeps on hitting at short. Jorge Cantu drove in a run last night. Ugla had a pair of hits. Cody Ross had the biggest hit, one of the biggest hits last night. Jeremy Hermida in right. I'll save that honor for Ronnie Paulino. When the caveman went deep, that was a huge home run. And Tim Redding is on the mound for the Mets.
Tim Redding, one of those pitchers with a little bit of everything. Also a great goatee as he gets ready to work. An unusual year for Redding last year. Overall, he was 10 and 11 with the Nationals. Not too bad. ERA in the high fours. But he was 1-4 against the Marlins. The Marlins had his number last year.
And there are some individuals up and down this Marlin lineup that have very good career numbers against Redding. Coughlin took a close 0-2 pitch. So it looks like the strike zone is tight for both starters. 1-2 coming in the dirt. And Santos smothers it.
Yeah, Redding with fastball, not overpowering. Couple of different breaking balls, change up. But yeah, his ERA against the Marlins last year, 7.76.
Guys like Hanley, Cantu, and Hermida have had big numbers. Coughlin turns on one and drives it to right field deep. Francoeur back to the wall. It is gone. He didn't get it. Coughlin homers just over the glove of Francoeur. And the Marlins are off to a 1-0 start.
Again, a very mature at bat by Chris Coughlin. Took a close pitch with a count 0-2. And then Redding missed, and then he came in. And look at how Coughlin turned on that pitch. We've seen him hit balls so well the other way. teams think they can come inside. And every once in a while, when they try to, Chris Coughlin will cross them up, turn on it. Home run number 8 for Cogs.
So Coughlin's had quite a series. Ross Glode drives one to left. Sullivan to the track makes the catch. 2 good swings against Tim Redding. A run and an out. And here comes the hit machine himself, Hanley Ramirez. First, let's take a look at the defense.
There's the defense with Corey Sullivan, Angel Pagan, Jeff Francoeur, good arm in right field. Tatis and Murphy at the corners, Valdez Hernandez up the middle, and Omir Santos behind the plate.
All right, where should we start with Hanley? Is it the league leading average? I mean, Hanley stands in at 365. Puts that ball up in the sunshine for Francoeur. Makes the catch.
Or we could even maybe start at the back end and talk about the outstanding defense Hanley has played this year. Made a couple of nice plays last night behind Josh Johnson. Just 8 errors. And as we've said all along, probably his best defensive year since he's a Marlin.
Here's Cantu now. An RBI last night. Jorge is 2 for 8 and 5 for 16 against Redding. Hanley swung at the first pitch. I didn't even get a chance to drop that. He's 8 for 17 now with 3 homers against Redding. Cantu pulls that one foul. And it's 1-1. Mets here, and this is the finish of a 3-game series. They're coming back, these Mets are. They'll be back in South Florida for a limited time engagement. They're booked from the 28th. There's a shot. Right field, hit pretty well. Francoeur is back, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Busy day out there for Francoeur already, but he didn't get that one. Marlins hit 4 balls to right field in that inning. Chris Coughlin's didn't come back. He just snuck over the wall for a home run, a 1-0 lead. And Anibal Sanchez, a nice escape in the first. As Fernando Tatis climbs in, and Tatis slaps it into center field. That's a base hit. Tatis has been a hitting machine. He was 3 for 4 in last night's ball game. Had a hit in the first game of the series as well.
Yeah, 5 for 9 in the series. You know, you go back to the first inning, the 2 pitches that really bailed out Sanchez, changeups. Changeup struck out Murphy, and then a good changeup fools Sullivan, and he hits the weak tapper to first base. So all of a sudden he found that changeup, and it helped him out.
Well, Tatis hit almost sounded like he splintered his bat. Here's Omir Santos. He's splitting time with Brian Schneider behind the plate. Santos, of course, a hero for the Mets early in the season against the Marlins when he hit a grand slam.
Kind of kept him on the ball club. Remember, he came up with some injury to Brian Schneider, and then they had to make a decision, Ramon Castro or Omir Santos, and Castro was traded. Santos has been their right-handed hitting catcher.
Yeah, Santos really won that job. And the sequence of events for Anibal Sanchez has not changed. He's fallen behind here 2-0. He's thrown 25 pitches, only 10 of them strikes. And I don't care what your lineup looks like in the big leagues, that'll get you in a lot of trouble. It looks like Tommy is breaking stuff in his changeup or his best pitches.
Yeah,
right
he's had trouble throwing the fastball over.
This is a young man that has overcome more adversity in his young life than many people overcome in their entire lives. Tommy John surgery. Of course, he was traded along with Hanley from the Red Sox organization to the Marlins. He pitched the no-hitter in 2006, had a brilliant 2006, 10-3 that year. Hurt his shoulder in 07 and had to have labrum surgery. There's another breaking ball for a strike, and it's 3-2.
So he is one of the few pitchers, and there have been a number that have had both Tommy John surgery and shoulder surgery.
And of course, in the middle of his rehab, the tragic death of his infant son as well. So nothing has come easy for Anibal Sanchez in his young big league career. Runner goes, swinging a tapper. Cantu cuts it off, fires across the diamond in time. Tatis is in scoring position. There's one out. Here comes Anderson Hernandez, and here comes Craig Minervini.
Rich, our Name That Marlin giveaway continues for a final day today. We've given away prizes the first 2 days, and you can follow us at facebook.com/Fox Sports Florida Sun Sports. All right, so that's the address. Here's the question today. In 2008, this current Marlins pitcher was one of only 3 pitchers with at least 18 appearances to not surrender an earned run during a day game. I'm sure you have this one on the tip of your fingernails. 18 appearances, not surrender an earned run during a day game. And we're not talking night game, just to clear that up. Just day games. Good luck. And follow us on Facebook.com. No night games, guys. We're looking at day stats here.
That'll take some serious tweeting.
That's not even a Google or a Bing or any of those search engines. That'd be a tough one to come up with. There's a shot into right field, and the Mets are going to tie this game. Anderson Hernandez chugging for 2, and he is in there. Sanchez hung one, and Hernandez hurts him.
You know, you're a Met hitter. You sit over there, and you realize he's had trouble getting his fastball over. So you kind of sit back, maybe look for some off-speed stuff, and a hanger there, Anderson Hernandez took advantage of. We saw him earlier this year with Washington, but he spent 2 or 3 years in the Mets organization, had a couple little trials with New York.
Tim Redding. Sanchez steps up. Marlins are going to appeal first base and say that Hernandez missed first. And here comes Freddie Gonzalez out. And so managers don't come out to argue this unless they're pretty sure that the guy missed it. And it's Angel Hernandez who's the umpire at first base.
Yeah, usually you don't see a manager come out to argue that.
And I bet you Freddie is asking this. Oh boy, that's close.
Boy, he may have missed it. Hard to tell, though, on the side of the foot.
I would suspect if you're the first base umpire, aren't you following that ball down the first baseline to make sure it's a fair ball?
Yes. And if you're a first baseman, sometimes it's your job on an extra base hit to look at that. But Ross Gloat's kind of checking out that ball as well. So it's either Ross Gloat or Dan Uggla alerted Freddie and the bench that maybe first base was missed.
And I would think mechanically the home plate umpire Marvin Hudson is the guy that has to watch that bag if it's a close, fair, or foul call down the line. But of course, he's concerned with the runner coming home. So as an umpiring crew, that's a tough one. Who's watching the bag at first? Mets letting Redding swing away. Sanchez pounces on it. He gets the out at first.
Good choice. We'll get back to that.
Padres this weekend, then Braves next week. It's a 4-game series, an enormous one for the Fish. All 4 games at 7:10, and they're all presented by visitorlando.com. And in Tuesday's Miami Herald, you got your 2 for Tuesday coupon, 1-877 Marlins.
Yeah, the reason I said good choice on that, I think later in the game, if you're in a close game, you might think about getting the runner going from second to third. I think Anibal Sanchez had that opportunity. He looked. But then he realized it's in the second inning. It's a 1-1 game. Get the out. Because it would have taken an extraordinary play. You got to make a good throw to third. So he got the sure out at first base. And I think at the time of the game, it's a good choice.
Angel Pagan started to the plate and then was called back into the dugout and spent about 20 seconds in there and then walks out to the plate. And I'm sure on orders he was just trying to buy time for the pitcher. Redding, who just ran down to first base. Marvin Hudson, the home plate umpire, was glaring in the dugout as if to say, I know what you're doing, let's go, everybody's hot out here.
Yeah, I'm hot out here too.
Here's the 1-0 pitch.
The key to a game like this, I talked to Mike Kozak, Marlins assistant trainer, athletic trainer. Hydrate a lot the night before, a lot of liquids the night before, and then they're prepared in the dugout. They have the towel that has the cold ammonia water on it. You can soak your head in, that feels good. Try to find a little shade. There are a few fans down there. And you would think a home plate umpire would have a little lenient strike zone on a 90-degree afternoon. It doesn't look like that from Marvin Hudson today, though.
That pitch missed up. The 1-0 pitch Sanchez flinched on. Here's his 3-0 offering. That's a strike. And it's 3-1. Pagan singled in the first. The Mets have 3 hits and a run. It's up. So the pitch count rises. So does Mark Wiley, and he's on his way out to talk to Anibal Sanchez.
We've had a little bit of our answer. I know a lot of us were curious to see how Sanchez would pitch in this game after his outing in Atlanta. That was tremendous. He threw the ball well. He spotted the ball. Right now, he does not look comfortable at all out there. More balls than strikes. Home plate umpire Marvin Hudson doesn't look too comfortable back there either. He's trying to speed things up a little bit. But if he wants to speed things up a little bit, I have a solution to that.
And I think Dan Worthen, the pitching coach of the Mets, would agree with you.
He wouldn't mind either.
Because the Redding got...
And you know what? The players wouldn't mind either.
So a couple walks. And Wilson Valdez is up with runners in the corners. Well, Valdez is the guy you want to go after right now because you've got Daniel Murphy on deck who's capable of doing some damage. Valdez doesn't have a lot of at-bats in the big leagues this year. Oh, 1.
I think we last saw Valdez a little bit with the Dodgers.
No swing. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. And a good call. Yeah, the Mets have had to put out an APB for a variety of players through the course of this injury-racked season. And you've got to know that Omar Minaya on his Rolodex has guys like Wilson Valdez, Anderson Hernandez. Where's Wilson Valdez? Get me Wilson Valdez.
I know he's still playing somewhere.
Yes. Anderson Hernandez, we know where he is.
Yeah, he's in Washington.
Let's get him. Runner goes on the 1-2 pitch. It's fouled back. And it stays 1-2. Of course, for Met fans, it's going to be an interesting offseason. Number one, to see if everybody comes back from their injuries 100%, if Reyes is okay, if Beltran's okay. They expect to get David Wright back here pretty soon. And I think he's going to be fine, which is good news for the Mets.
Yeah, I think we'll see David Wright for sure.
Runner goes. And a fly ball. That's almost a pitch and an example, Tommy, right there of a hitter. Since the runner is going, you know, if the runner's not going, he may not swing at that pitch.
You know what, though? The Marlins, the middle infielders, are basically conceding Pagan stealing that base because Ugla nor Hanley went over to cover. So if Valdez thought he had a hole open in the infield, he wasn't going to get it.
Hernandez at third, Pagan's at first. Let's see if he's running again on the 1-2. Not running. And a ground ball off of Glode. It kicks to Ugla. He fires to first and safe at first. And the Mets have taken a 2-1 lead. Ugla made a nice play, and all he could do was throw it near the bag. There were two guys there. Sanchez was on the bag, Glode was not.
We've seen Ross Glode make so many nice plays. This time, this ball skips off his glove. He's going to be charged with an error. Dan Ugla right there, though. But the speed of Valdez got him to the bag, and I don't think they would have gotten him. So an error charged to Ross Glode on a tough play.
Now Murphy.
And it's probably not why he made the error, but it goes back to what I said in the first inning. When it's a hot afternoon, you want strikes thrown by your pitcher. You want to be active out there. He's thrown more balls than strikes and over 40 pitches here in the second inning.
Yeah, 46 pitches. Mets have a couple and a 2-1 lead. Murphy takes high. Christian Martinez is probably the guy that is getting nudged a bit down in the bullpen because he would be the Marlins' long guy in this ballgame, and there he is. It's 2-1.
Well, this is a tough part. It's one thing to say and get excited, everybody, okay, Anibal Sanchez is back. But are you going to get this the rest of the year? Good outing, bad outing, maybe a good outing, mediocre outing. What kind of Anibal Sanchez are you going to get the rest of the year?
It's so hard to tell when you look back at rehab starts. Because rehab starts are just to make sure the guy is healthy. Yeah, it's a ball game, and you're pitching in AA or AAA.
You have AA, AAA hitters maybe going out of the zone, chasing pitches.
And you're out there working on certain pitches. It's not like all of a sudden you're out there and you're bearing down and it's forget about how you feel. It's time to get out. This is his 50th pitch already. Murphy stayed on the breaking ball. Ross got a good jump, but it's over his head. That ball carries all the way out of play. It's going to produce just one run. Well, that ball just kept traveling and traveling, and Daniel Murphy has himself an RBI double, and the Mets lead is now 3-1.
Gives you an idea, and I think the ball is carrying, and it usually does carry better here in the afternoon. But Murphy goes down, kind of gets full extension, and you're right, this ball carried a lot further than I thought. I thought it was a routine fly ball to Cody Ross.
Jerry Manuel is out to argue about what, I'm not sure.
Well, if it bounces and hits the scoreboard, the National League scoreboard at the corner where that Budweiser sign is, it's in play. But if it bounces and then hits the dark area where the seats are rolled up, then it's a ground rule double.
And it looked pretty clear on the
Right in here.
replay that that's about where it hit.
Yeah, if it hit in the here, it would be in play. But it didn't. It looked like it bounced and hit in that area where the seats are folded up.
So Manuel goes out just for clarification. Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah, it's close.
Oh, yeah, very close. A lot closer than I thought.
Dangerous man up here, Francoeur. He hit a BB out to Ross in the first, with Metz at second and third. And a struggling Sanchez. He gets him to pop up. Hanley in shallow left. Fighting the sun. Makes the catch. And a messy inning for Sanchez. The Mets get 3. Jerry Manuel, our Geico quote of the day. Every day we get something new here. Every day. But we'll be okay. We're building up equity for years to come on the Mets string of injuries. Gary Sheffield out with back spasms. He's listed as day to day. Ugla, Ross, Hermida against Redding now, who has been staked to a 3-1 lead. Ugla's one of the few Marlins that does not have good numbers personally against Redding. See his numbers in this series: 2 for 5 with 3 walks, but he's 1 for 13 with 7 punchouts against the goateed one.
Yeah, it's interesting. Redding pitched true to form in the first inning. He got 3 fly ball outs, and if you look at his fly ball to ground ball ratio coming into the game, 96 ground balls, 168 fly balls. So he's the opposite of a Mike Pelfrey.
And on a day where the ball is carrying, maybe that's good news for the Fish. The Marlins' lone run came on a Chris Coughlin home run. 3-0 to Ugla. Dan walked a couple times last night. As we've chronicled, his walk totals up this year. As after the fastball, it's 3-2.
You go back to spring training for Redding. Go back even a little further. He had season-ending surgery at the end of the season on his toe, actually, his left foot. He was in a battle for that 5th spot in spring training. Livan Hernandez eventually won that battle, who, by the way, has surfaced once again. Livan Hernandez has surfaced back with the Nationals.
So Oakland has walked for the 73rd time and for the 4th time in this series, and here is Cody Ross. Brad Penny released by the Boston Red Sox, and it'll take, I think, about 48 hours for things to clear in terms of if anybody might claim him or if he passes through waivers. Whoever, if someone claims him right away, they're going to be on the hook for a big part, not a big part, but a part of his big salary. That made more sense that way.
I understood what you were saying.
It's not a big part right now, but it is a big contract, and you do get part of that. Cody goes after a fastball. It was an outside fastball that he drove to right last night.
Yeah, good bit of hitting by Cody Ross. A triple, his first triple of the year. Driving in Hanley Ramirez, driving in Dan Uggla. So when you see Cody hit the ball that way and up the middle, he's just starting to put together a little streak.
Breaking ball, and it's popped up. Out goes Valdez, in comes Sullivan, and Valdez makes the catch. So there's one out. It's going to bring Hermida up. When you sit down to do your homework for a series, one of the things you do is you look at who is starting, and you take a glance to see which guys on each side have hit against that certain pitcher. And one thing jumped out at us early about this ball game is that Hermida has big numbers against Tim Redding. And Jeremy's riding a 5-game hit streak. Redding misses outside.
So you put together a hot-hitting Jeremy Hermida now, and then you put together his numbers, career numbers against Redding.
There they are. Redding has been no master of the strike zone here either. Both Sanchez and Redding have struggled. 22 pitches, right down the middle, 11 strikes, 11 balls. Two and one. Only other game going on, Texas and the Yankees. Yankees a 1-0 lead in the 3rd inning. This afternoon in the National League, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Houston, St. Louis, Cubs and Nationals. Broken bat. And out number 2. So Redding has been able to get 2 pop-ups. Here comes Paulino. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Florida Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Florida Marlins and Carlos Baerga. Paulino, 2 for 4 last night. One of those, a big home run.
I like what he said to Craig afterwards. He was looking for a sinker. He was looking for a ball down, and he got it.
A 0-1 pitch misses. It's 1-1.
Now remember, it was a sinker off Derek Lowe that he hit for a double in Atlanta to clear the bases. Remember, Rich, at the beginning of the year, first month and a half or so, the opportunities Paulino got against right-handers, his average was abysmal. It's in the 100s.
You see the August numbers, and a good number of those at-bats have come against right-handers this month.
And he's brought that batting average now against right-handers up to 264. And 3 of his home runs, 3 of his 7 home runs against righties.
Two. And the count stays at 2-2. One of the toughest things to do in baseball is sweep a team in a series of 3-gamer, 4-gamers. Obviously even harder. The Marlins have taken the first 2 in this series, and a real opportunity here. Up and in. Full count.
Yeah, I've watched Angel Pagan this whole series. He plays one of the deepest center fields in this ballpark. I mean, he's a long way out there. A lot of balls can drop in front of him. Nothing's going to get over his head. If it gets over his head, it's going to be a home run.
If you ask a pitcher where he would like his center fielder to play, that pitcher will tell you shallow. Breaking ball cut on and missed. Paulino goes down. Redding a bounce back inning in the second. The Mets have a 3-1 lead. Is coming up. I mean, Fish Friday is tomorrow. The Padres and the Marlins, 7:10 start. You can play Billy Bingo and win a autographed Josh Johnson framed photo. Hello. Get all you can eat seats as well. 1-877 Marlins. It's not easy to read a drop in when they're changing pictures like that.
Rich, you have to concentrate on the drop-in.
Sullivan dings one into right field for a base hit. The Marlins Mermaid calendar, I'm reminded, on Family Sunday will be distributed. 5,000, I believe. Tommy, as we noted last night, you did not make the cut.
No, but I got a sneak preview of the calendar.
Sanchez is really struggling right now. 54 pitches.
My opinion, you can't let him go too much longer. Get Christian Martinez in the game. He throws strikes, and hopefully Anibal Sanchez in his next start can get it back together.
A strike to Tatis.
Because 3-1 is certainly attainable to overcome that. You don't want to allow the Mets to keep piling on more runs.
Tatis, Santos, and Hernandez. This is the part of the order that was a problem for Sanchez in the second. Runner goes, got a huge jump, and Paulino has no chance to throw him out.
Huge jump by Sullivan, no chance. How many times have we said that this year?
Yeah. Well, the Marlins, it's one of the areas that they, I would suspect in the offseason, need to address. Tatis hits a towering shot to left center. That's deep. Ross is back and looking up and leaping and making the catch. Sullivan tags, and he's at third. Now, Cody Ross, especially after watching the ball that Murphy hit, you almost expected Cody to turn his back, and he did for a brief moment, and then went up and got it.
Turned his back, took a look at the wall, and used it to lean up against after he came down with the catch. I think Cody might be playing a step or two deeper too, just because the ball is carried so well.
There is Santos. Infield's in as Sanchez tries to grind through this third inning. In the air, Uggla's out, Bermuda's in. Dan wandering to his left makes the catch.
Big out there, especially with the runner at third and less than 2 out. So a good fastball kind of crowded Santos. He couldn't extend it.
But one of the guys that hurt Sanchez is coming up now.
But you also have first base open and the pitcher on deck.
Let's see if they give him 4 wide ones and pitch to Redding.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
Redding is 1 for 17 this year.
Boy, the Dodgers certainly got a nice game from Randy Wolf last night. Certainly needed.
I'm sorry, I turned that game on late, and what was it, 6-1 at the time?
6-1 was the final score, yeah.
And I was thinking, you know what, the Rockies may come back and win this one too. Just having seen them the last few nights and their comeback wins, the walk-off wins they've had, you expect them, when they fall down by even that much, to get up off the canvas.
But you know what, the Dodgers were able to get that outing, 7 1/3 from Wolf. They got a nice job by George Sherrill. Remember, they acquired him from Baltimore, and then Broxton closed it out.
So it's Redding who goes after a breaking ball.
The Phillies are another story. They just blow a save, and then Howard or Utley hits a big home run.
They have persevered. That could be a deadly pill for some teams, to have that much issue with their closer. To right field, Redding actually hit it well, and Hermida makes the catch, and Sanchez wiggles out of the third, still down 3-1. Of the Marlins, Tim Redding back on the hill. Sanchez, Coughlin, and Claude for the Fish. The Mets have jumped on Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez, who was brilliant in his return on the disabled list, flirted with a no-hitter his last time out. But not today. He has had trouble throwing strikes, as has Tim Reddick. He's worked an uneven 2 innings. The Coughlin home run, the run for the fish.
We were discussing that Dodgers game last night in Denver, 6-1 win. Randy Wolf pitching well. He got all the offense he needed from Andre Ethier. Ethier had 3 hits and a couple of home runs. And by the way, Ethier not complaining about the fans in L.A.
Is that a Milton Bradley shot?
Well, they were traded for each other, weren't they?
Across the bow? Yes, they were. That's a good point. Milton Bradley, he had a good day yesterday.
He did. And you know, to expound on Ethier, all of a sudden he's up to 290. 27 home runs and 87 RBIs. Andre Ethier is going to have 30 and 100 this year.
Here's Coughlin now. He homered back in the first.
Remember, back in the first, Redding tried to come inside, and turning on it was Chris Coughlin. Great catch by the young fan out there, and he did the right thing. He didn't lean over. He just let the ball come to him and made the grab. He figured if Frank Coeur wasn't going to get it, he was going to catch it.
Coughlin takes a strike. He's out in front, quickly 0-2. Another look. Watch the fan.
He doesn't reach. He just reaches parallel. Ball comes to him.
That looks like a tricky spot, too, because you've got the stairwell there, and he's right at the top of the stairs.
We have, on occasion, seen a few balls hit in that area, and they hit that bar, the railing, that's a home run, it's beyond the fence, but then kick back onto the playing field.
We haven't seen it since instant replays
No,
fit in.
no, we haven't.
Since the end of last year or all this year, but beginning of last year, there were a couple times that happened.
I think Beltran hit one.
Yes.
That was ruled a double.
0-2. Coughlin goes down, and Redding has struck out 3 in a row, and all of a sudden, the 31-year-old right-hander out of Rochester has found his stride. Glode now. He flied to deep left back in the first. Nick Johnson on the disabled list. It's retroactive. The Marlins not sure yet if he'll be ready to come off the DL late in the weekend. If not, Ross Glode will continue to get a lot of ABs and starts at first base.
Well, certainly it looks like right-handers in that Padres series, Correa and then Latos, to be announced the middle game of the series for San Diego. If a lefty throws, that's when we've seen Freddie make the move. He'll bring Wesson at third, Cantu at first base, maybe get a start for Bonifacio in the outfield.
1-2 coming. There's 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Dodgers and the Rockies actually play an afternoon game in Colorado. Padilla and De La Rosa. I believe that's the first start for Padilla with the Dodgers.
Yes, it is.
De La Rosa, the lefty, going for the Rocks.
smile the Duck has there. It's like, yeah, I'm a star. Oh. Sanchez misses down low. Only Hall of Famer to play and manage the Mets is our Aflac trivia question. So you have to have played with and managed the Mets, and you have to be in the Hall of Fame.
I think I know this one. I think I know this one. By the way, the Duck had that Steven Tyler type strut. Yeah, I guess the best hint we can give to the Aflac answer today would be you really associate this answer and this guy with the other New York team.
And the Duck has met him, and when the Duck met him, the Duck was not smiling.
They were, I think they were doing a commercial together.
And the Duck had a very perplexed look on his face. Sanchez gets his third shot at the Mets order, and that's not a good sign when it's the fourth inning. And Pagan takes up 2-2.
Yeah, far cry from 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, a couple of walks. That was his last outing, the Lion on his last outing against the Braves.
I think this start is to be expected, more so than for him to come out and throw like he did. Check swing. He went around. He gets the strikeout. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for a guy that has had the injury issues, is coming off a rehab, he comes right out of the chutes and throws like he did back in '06, and you think, oh, hey, everything's great, and he's back.
But you would still hope to see strikes.
Yes.
And he's not done that. The velocity's okay.
Wilson Valdez has walked, and he hit the shot that glanced off of Glode for an error that produced a run in the second.
Good cutting fastball, that last pitch.
Push punt, and it got by Sanchez. Oh! And he nearly killed Ross Glode
With the throw that should never have been made because he didn't have a chance. When you're mad because you booted the ball, don't take it out on your first baseman and almost airmail him with a throw. That's just a bad play all around by Anibal Sanchez. And again, he could get 2 errors. Can't believe they're giving him a hit on a ball that should have been made. It's a hit and an error. Could have been 2 errors by Sanchez. He has that ball right there. It's a bunt, not a tough play. And then he's only about 10 feet away from Ross Glode and almost beheads him.
Ground ball to Glode. He'll backhand it and flip to Sanchez, who steps on the bag. So here comes Jeff Francoeur with a runner at third and 2 outs. So infield single, E1. Francoeur's lined out, popped down. There's Martinez. A 1 into right field, and the error by Sanchez
costs his team a run. Francoeur picks up the RBI. It's 4-1 now. Here comes Sullivan. Corey Sullivan is bounced out and single. So this has not been a thing of beauty for Anibal Sanchez. The Mets really haven't hit him hard, but when you have trouble throwing strikes and establishing the strike zone and then don't field your position well, I don't care who's up there, whether it's the Mets, whether it's a team filled with guys that are not frontline starters.
I'll be blunt. It's a subpar performance against a subpar lineup. No sugarcoating on this one.
36 games left in the season and 4.5 back in the wild card. You can't sugarcoat.
And we have heard from Larry Meinfest, from Michael Hill, the Marlins will go as far as their starting pitching takes them.
There's a strike on the inside corner.
If Anibal Sanchez doesn't have even a little better outings in this one, then they're not going to go very far, because he's going to keep getting his opportunity to go out there.
Francoeur, the runner at first. 0-2 coming. And it's smacked into left center field. Ross is over. Coughlin will pick it up. Runner's on his way to third. And the throw all the way through to Cantu. Holding first is Sullivan. And you would expect Freddie Gonzalez. Mark Wiley calling down to see if he is ready.
Certainly nobody fooled in this lineup today. Sullivan with a nice swing there. He has 2 hits today. And that is going to be all for Sanchez.
So a very different feeling for Anibal Sanchez from his first start, the win in Atlanta, to this one. The Marlins down 4-1. He exits. And here is our Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Fourth inning, he leaves with 2 outs, and he leaves runners at the corners for Christian Martinez to come in. He's got to get Fernando Tatis, who might be the hottest hitter in the Mets lineup this series.
Well, one thing we've seen from Christian Martinez, seems like every time, the last couple of times he's come in, have been in bases loaded situations. So no stranger to coming in and pitching with men on base. Now, the Marlins need the bullpen to do what they've done the last 2 games. They have to do it a little bit longer, though, today. Last 2 games, 6 innings total from the bullpen, no runs.
That fastball misses inside. It's 1-0. Tatis singled in the second, 5 hits in the series. He's the guy in this lineup that has the most major league experience. Who's revitalized his career.
Well, there's a great pitch. 2-0 changeup. Tatis had a fastball swing.
Last year, Tatis hit 297. Injured his shoulder in September. Was the Sporting News Comeback Player of the Year, and he came back from early retirement. Martinez out of the bullpen, gets the strikeout, finishes the inning, but the Mets add a run and lead it early, 4-1. Maroney, hey, South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who you going to call? 1-877-Maroney. By Checkers, Little Place, Big Taste. By Corona, official sponsor of the Timeout. Mets and Marlins just opening the day in the National League. Big games on hand. Nice to have a big hat on a day like this. The Marlins opening play 4.5 back in the wild card. The Phillies with that Ryan Howard homer in Pittsburgh last night keep a 7-game lead in the East.
Rich, the Phillies have gone 13-3 their last 16 games.
Doesn't matter if Lidge blows the save. Doesn't matter if Madsen blows the save.
Doesn't matter.
They've got the firepower to overcome that.
They've got Brett Myers getting ready to join the club. Had a couple of rehab innings last night in the minor leagues.
Hanley up there takes a breaking ball at the letters for a strike. Hanley flied out back in the first, but his career numbers against Reading outstanding. 8 of 17, 3 of the 8 are home runs. Here's the 1-1 coming. That's outside.
We talked about some of the numbers where you wanted to start with Hanley. 49 multi-hit games. That ties him with Miguel Tejada, most in the National League. 22 3-hit games, most in the major leagues.
Off the end of the bat, and it fooled Murphy, the first baseman. He broke immediately to first and then stopped and realized had he stayed put, he might have had that ball.
Definitely a cue shot. A full swing by Hanley, but hits it off the end of the bat, a squibber. And you're right, if Murphy holds his ground, he starts it, that's too late. And he goes to first base, realize he might have made the play. And Hanley gets a base hit.
That's the education of a second baseman turned outfielder trying to play first base in the big leagues. Cantu now. Marlins trying to put something together against Tim Redding. Last night we were talking about Hanley Ramirez and the fact that the Marlins' lack of national exposure in terms of games on national television might hurt Hanley's chances for postseason awards. I think we both agree that Albert Pujols is the MVP in the National League.
I tell you what, though, Ryan Howard, if he continues to do what he's been doing, Howard with 35 home runs, 107 RBIs, and seems to hit a big home run every other day.
Just perusing some of the columns this morning online, Jason Stark has a very nice one about what happens if the season were to end today, and Hanley's name mentioned in there, along with some other guys you might not think about: Pablo Sandoval, Troy Tulowitzki, Chase Utley. And I think, obviously, as you noted, you can put Howard's name in there. In the National League Cy Young, Tim Lincecum would be his choice, but Chris Carpenter is right on his tail.
Adam Wainwright right on his tail.
Cliff Lee, Wainwright, Josh Johnson, Matt Cain, and Dan Herron also getting love as well. Cantu, a little broken bat at short. Wilson gets one, quick turn, and the Mets get a double play. That's a nice turn. Valdez a good feed, and Hernandez turned it quickly. And the duck. The duck was not mentioned in that column about postseason awards. Only Hall of Famer to play and to manage the Mets.
You only have to give his first name.
Yogi. Played in '65 and managed in the early '70s.
Lawrence. Yogi Berra. Talking about Wainwright, how about the St. Louis Cardinals? They got a win last night. Joel Pinheiro, he picked up his 13th win. He has 13. Carpenter has 14. Wainwright has 15.
Outside corner. Uggla drops the bat. He's not happy. He and Marvin Hudson go at it a little bit. But Tim Redding enjoying this lead and enjoying his day in Miami.
Florida Marlins Baseball está disponible en español vía SAP y es presentado por KFC.
No Cookie and Raul, it's Cookie and Tito. Hi, guys.
Richie. Hi, Tommy. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey,
Tito,
guys.
how you doing?
How are you?
Good, good.
Is Cookie behaving himself, Tito?
Yes, he is, as always.
He's keeping me in line, Richie.
I have a question for Cookie.
Line shot to left. That one's in the gap. Ross will pick it off the wall, and Omir Santos has led off the fifth with a double.
Way entre left center y fácilmente empiezan los Mets nuevamente aquí en la quinta entrada con hombre en segunda base.
Cookie, when you're playing, it's really tough on a hot day when you're playing behind a struggling pitcher such as Anibal Sanchez today.
Absolutely, Tommy. Just from the beginning, he was behind the hitters all the time, 3-2. And I'll tell you what, even the Mets helped him a couple of times in the first inning, swinging at real bad pitches that would have been, you know, a walk. And then Frank Gore hitting in 3-0, hits a fly ball to center field. So actually, the infielders want somebody to throw a strike so they can be on their toes and on their heels. So very difficult day today for Anibal Sanchez.
All right, guys, have a good show.
You too, Tommy.
Thank
and
you.
Richie. Thank you.
You too.
Yeah, the amazing thing in this game today, the Marlins are 0 for 0 with runners in scoring position. They've gotten their run on the home run of Chris Coghlan. The Mets have had all kinds of runners in scoring position, but they're only 3 for 14 today in those situations, and they've left 8 men on base. So it could be a lot worse, and that's why you'd like to see Christian Martinez shut them down and give your offense a chance. There's a lot of time left.
Two and one. RBI double. He was intentionally walked when Sanchez was able to get Redding to finish the third. That's a little looper. That's going to fall. Coghlan picks it up.
And a few of those, too.
The Mets hit fest continues. They're already in double digits now. As Hernandez singles to left. Here comes Redding with nobody out.
Let's see if he tries to sacrifice the runner from first over to second. Get a couple of men in scoring position.
Well, there's two schools of thought. You could do that, or you could just let him take his hacks, and if he puts one in play, at the very least you're going to get a run. You might have to sacrifice 2 outs. He punts. It's in the air. Martinez kicks it, flips it, and gets the out. And all of this happening while Omir Santos was anchored at third base.
Now, Redding did the job, and I think Santos, a couple of reasons, with nobody out, he doesn't want to take too many chances. He doesn't run that well. Plus, the bump was popped in the air. He doesn't want to get doubled off. As soon as he sees that ball in the air, looked like he took his eye off of it a little bit, but was able to regroup.
Rossclo didn't know what to expect from that throw.
Not after he got the one from Sanchez.
Marlins, I think, are going to walk Pagan here. Yeah, they are. And we check in with Craig. Craig, what's up?
Hey guys, as you know, it's been a big week for the Marlins' new ballpark, and we've got some video, some interesting things happening down there at the site of the old Orange Bowl, and you could follow it, of course, the whole process all the way through. They have planted some time capsules with items from the 1997 and 2003 World Championships, and there they are going in the ground to be under all these super columns. They're in the process now of putting up 12 super columns. That'll be the main structure. The concrete goes right on the time capsules. And they have 8 of these 12 are in place now, and they'll finish the 12 super columns by the end of next month. That will be the first major step in the process. So we'll take you along for the ride, and you go on the Marlins website and follow it on a day-by-day basis as you look at the beautiful new stadium. 2012, 179 games and counting.
We're on a day like today. It'll be nice and comfortable.
Yes.
Wilson Valdez now with the bags filled with Mets. Midland field back for 2. Cantu up at the corner at third. Gets to the screen, quick bounce. Santos is caught and he's out.
That was a heads-up play by Ronnie Paulino. Marlins got a little break because that ball kicked back off the backstop right back toward Paulino, but in the meantime he took a peek to see where Santos was. Here comes Santos. Look at the peek by Ronnie. He saw that he was off, and then it takes a good throw on his part to Cantu. Nicely done.
That is an enormous play for the Marlins, who are struggling here on the mound against the Mets. Anibal Sanchez wasn't sharp, and Christian Martinez in this inning has not been sharp. And he falls behind 2-0 to Wilson Valdez. Still out there, Hernandez and Pagan. Ground ball up the middle. Hanley dives, won't get it. Into center it goes. Ross picks it up, and the Mets go into third. And in there is Angel Pagan.
Just as you think it's getting sloppy, it gets sloppier.
Yikes. Hernandez scores.
First of all, you almost thought double play, but just out of the reach of Hanley. And then Cody comes up. He thinks about throwing to third base. If he throws to third base immediately, he has Pagan by a ton. And all of a sudden, Pagan ends up getting to third.
Daniel Murphy is 1 for 3. Inside, 1-1. This is Daniel Murphy's 4th at bat of the game. And you're right, this very easily could be 9 or 10-1.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the Marlins continue playing the way they are, it will be.
Chris Volstad gets the ball tomorrow night against the Padres. We do not have Saturday's game on television. And that is a line shot by Cantu. Murphy into the corner. Run around third. Coming home Valdez. He scores. 7-1. So
big day for Murphy.
The hole gets deeper for the Fish.
Second double of the game for Daniel Murphy. Picks up 2 RBIs, had one in the second, so he has 3 RBIs. Look at the effort by Chris Coghlan. He doesn't care what the score is. Tried to knock that ball down, which he did, but the speed of Valdez allowed him to score anyway. And now you get to the tough part of decision making. Christian Martinez is your guy that you hoped would give you 3 innings maybe. And he still may have to stay out there and suck it up and take one for the team, because if not, now you have to dip into that bullpen and use guys you don't really want to use in a game like this.
Yeah, because if you all of a sudden say, all right, let's go tag team effort from the bullpen from this point on, then you're shortchanging yourself for the next 7 games. You got 3 with the Padres starting tomorrow night. Then the Braves come in. There's no off day between those series. And then you follow that up with a 3-game series in Washington. So the Marlins' next off day isn't until September 7th. Francoeur fouls it back. It's 1-1. Daniel Murphy has driven in 3 of the 7 runs. Still 2 outs. And all these runs in this inning have come with 2 outs. Round third, up with the ball, Coughlin, and his throw is way offline, and it's 8-1.
Well, a few Met fans that have been here haven't had a whole lot to cheer about, especially in this series, especially this year. So getting an opportunity as they bash away and add on. And for Jeff Francoeur, his 2nd hit today, and we mentioned it, in his 42 games now as a Met, hitting over 300.
Francoeur as well has driven in 26 runs as a Met. Here is Sullivan. And you would think next year the Mets will have him in right field, with, they're hoping, the rest of the cast of characters back and healthy. Beltran in center, Reyes at short, Wright at third. Roller up the middle, Ugla backhands and flips to Hanley, and a long, painful inning is over. The Mets add on, stretch the lead to 8-1. There'll be none of that. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G, Network. The Grossman family is here. Look at that. He can't even enjoy a ball game.
Wait a minute. I think Bobby's calling me about the pregame we're on.
He's working hard on that show.
Okay.
Cody Ross, Jeremy Hermida, and Ronnie Paulino in the fifth. Marlins have a big hole to climb out of. It's 8-1 Mets.
By the way, in that rapid rewind, don't you just enjoy our camera crew getting into things today? Actually, they do that just to stay awake.
Well, the camera crew in a game like this deserves a lot more props than the announcing crew. Tatis. I mean, let's face it, we're up here where the sun doesn't shine, air conditioned, and the camera guys, John Tuitu and the rest of the boys down there. There's Craig.
Hey, yeah, Craig's got a little shade there.
Joey down there.
Glenn's out there. Glenn loves it out there. He doesn't like being in the booth with us.
Look at that.
Glenn's starting to get ripped. What's he doing?
The guy that we had on last night, I think he and Glenn have joined a health club. That's right.
To start testing our camera.
Good tricep extension there. Hermida bangs one off the wall. And Jeremy settles into second. Everybody all together now. That is a checkers double.
Supplied by Jeremy Hermida and extending his hitting streak to 6 games now. 8 base hits his last 19 at bats.
Just checking the wire and seeing what's going on in baseball today. It looks like Trevor Hoffman has been claimed by an anonymous team. His ERA was 1.85, and he had 27 saves in 40 games.
Hey, he was having a very good year.
Whether he stays a Brewer or not, we'll have to wait and see. Carlos Zambrano coming back for the Cubs. Did he make a promise to get in better shape?
I think he's come back to try to calm down Milton Bradley.
I think for Christmas, someone ought to give Zambrano one of those cool Gatorade machines that they used to have in the Cubs dugout.
With a big sign on it that says, "Hit me."
Redding misses down low with a breaking ball.
You get a little upset in the offseason, go into the extra bedroom and wail away at the Gatorade.
2-2 is fouled off, and the count stays at 2-2.
Well, in the meantime, the veteran out there, Tim Redding, doing a nice job. Originally drafted 20th round in '97 by the Astros. That's who he first came up with.
Full count 3-2. Roller out towards short, and Valdez whips it across. This weekend, a Super Saturday, a game that is not on television, a 6:10 start. Johnny Ventura is the concert, fireworks spectacular, and it's all presented by Dominican Republic Tourism. Fans get a Latin cowbell courtesy of Click It or Ticket, 1-877 Marlins.
People are probably wondering, what's Christian Martinez hitting for? Use a pinch hitter, Freddie. What's going? But we've already talked about that. If you pinch hit for Martinez here, now you have to start piecing the game together, getting an inning from this guy, an inning from this guy, and that affects the next series.
Then you go into that San Diego series on a Friday night, and this guy's off limits, and this guy's off limits.
Yeah, and you say, okay, we'll go into that series Friday night. We hope Chris Volstad gives us 7 innings, but you don't know that.
Martinez fouls it off, and it's 1-2. '27-year-old Dominican,
and I believe his first at bat in the major leagues.
And he reaches out and hits one on a hop to first. Murphy steps on the bag, and the Marlins are done in the 5th. We played 5. It's 8-1 Mets. Giving you a chance to upgrade your baseball experience and win a premium seat right next to the action in the Fox Sports Florida Heineken Light Upgrade Your Experience Sweepstakes. It's your chance to win an upgrade. Send a postcard with your name, address, phone number, date of birth, and email address to the address on your screen. Or if you can't write that fast, go to fsfloridatv.com today, fsfloridatv.com for more information. Well, Martinez is going to be out here at least for another inning. Marlins are hoping, I'm sure, for 2 more at least. Tatis, Santos, Hernandez in the 6th. Striking, it's 1-1.
This has been one of the few times that Christian Martinez has not had good command and success in coming into a ball game.
He probably just feels strange since the bases are not loaded. That's where he's been at his best when he's come out of the pen. Texas has a 3-2 lead over the Yankees. That's in the 5th inning. Milwaukee 4-0 over Cincinnati. Prince Fielder's in his 35th. Martinez does a nice job of fielding it, and Gload gets a catchable ball.
We talked about the year that Prince Fielder is having. Came into the day-to-day in baseball leading the National League in RBIs, so adding to that total.
Matt Holliday has homered. Houston has a 2-1 lead over St. Louis in the 3rd. Ryan Zimmerman's 27th. Washington 3-0 over the Cubs in Chicago. That's early. That's 2nd inning. The Dodgers and the Rockies are about 10 minutes away from starting at Coors Field. Where Santos has a double. But then again, who doesn't? Every Met regular has a hit. And the Mets have 13 hits in this ballgame.
5 different guys have scored. That's the one thing about that Washington Nationals team. They have some offense.
That's a good offensive team.
Yeah, that's a good offensive ball club. And if you don't pitch against the Nationals, you're going to get hurt. Because they can slug it out.
There's a drive down the line. Omar Santos is channeling Gary Carter today.
And Mike Piazza combined. I mean, Omar Santos against the Marlins looks like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he does. 2 doubles in this one.
Yeah, 5th double for the Mets this afternoon.
It's now a 4-0 lead for the Nationals in Chicago. Martinez misses up to Anderson Hernandez. 2 for 2 is Hernandez. This has been a problem spot. And you don't expect that out of the number 8 hitter in a banged up Mets lineup. 2 hits, 2 runs. And that one's fouled back.
Well, that's right. He has 2 hits. Santos, batting in that number 7 spot, has 2 hits, 2 for 4.
Fly ball left field, and Coughlin is over, and he makes the catch. So there's 2 outs. Saturday afternoon's made for baseball. This week, Fox brings you the national game of the week. You've got Rays and Tigers, or you can see these Mets and the Cubs both looking to gain ground in the National League wild card race. That's what it says. Fox Saturday Baseball.
You just read
4
them
Eastern.
The way they're written.
On a hop, Ugla flips on over to first. In time. Tim Redding is out, but the Marlins are down. Down big, 8-1. Freeze this. See if Frank Core can make the catch. Oh, look at the kid. He had the sunglasses on. He had the glove out, and he makes the catch. The Frostburg Coors Light freeze can. Nice play.
And that has been the highlight for the Marlins today.
Yeah, the Coughlin home run and the catch by the fan. And it's been Tim Redding, of all people, that has stuck it in the Marlins' ear.
You know what? He's coming off a pretty good start, though. His last time out was no decision against the Phillies. He went 5 innings, gave up just 1 hit and no runs.
Oh, see, that's the guy that Glenn, our cameraman,
Oh, I thought that was Glenn.
has been working out with. He thought he was on break. I think Glenn has more definition, right, Glenn? You know, Tommy, I think you and I both could get more protein in our diet. There's a drive to left. That ball's well hit. Sullivan looks up. That ball is gone. A 2-homer game for Chris Coughlin. So numbers 8 and 9 in this ball game, and those are the 2 highlights. It's 8-2.
He has displayed his ability today of having power to both fields. The first home run to right. This one he stays back, sneaks it over that American League scoreboard with a beautiful swing. First career multi-homer game.
Redding misses up to Glode. Ross is 0 for 2. Then you've got Hanley and Cantu. Valdez. Good strong arm out at short from Wilson Valdez. And out here in the 6th, here comes Hanley. He's 1 for 2 in this ball game. He's hit in 20 of his last 21. Here are his rankings in a lot of the National League categories. Average hits, doubles, OPS, the slugging percentage, 86, then runs batted in.
Pretty good resume. And you know another guy who's going to put together a nice resume for the next 10, 12, 15 years? Chris Coughlin.
Coughlin's name has surfaced in a lot of the Rookie of the Year talk. Unfortunately, as we've talked about, the 2 starting pitchers, Jay Happ and Tommy Hanson, are leading that parade. And I think if it were to end today, Happ would be the guy.
Yeah, Happ pitching tonight in Pittsburgh for the Phillies, and Happ takes a 10-2 record with a 2.59 ERA into that game.
Hanley went after a high breaking ball. Valdez is fighting the sun. Up comes Cantu. Tim Redding trying to reverse his recent success, or lack of, against the Marlins. 4 and 5 in his career against the Fish. Cantu to left field. Sullivan at the wall makes the catch. And the inning is over. Another Coughlin homer, and that's it. Castillo, all-time hit leader at Landshark Stadium. 645 hits in 578 games. Louis getting the day off, and the Mets are doing just fine without him. Angel Pagan, his 5th appearance at the plate. And leads off the 7th inning. He strokes one to center field. Ross back in there and makes the catch. Up comes Wilson Valdez.
Not an easy day. Afternoon, bright sunshine to play the outfield here in this ballpark.
Padres and Braves are a night game tonight. Padres have won the first 2 of that series. Valdez takes it inside. It's 1-0. The Giants have won the first 2 against Arizona. They play tonight as well. Yusmeiro Petit going for Arizona. Nice play by Cantu. In time to get the out. Valdez is out. There are 2 outs here in the 7th inning, and Joe Martinez for the Giants.
You know, I did not realize the other day, watching a little bit of the Little League World Series, it's always fun to kind of watch, and they were talking about the kids from Venezuela. And I did not realize that Yusmeiro Petit had been a member of one of the Venezuelan Little League teams years ago.
I believe on that team there was a catcher that's also in the big leagues, and his name escapes me, but our crack staff will scramble. I think he's a backup catcher that is in the big leagues and got up this year. Struck him out.
That's a nice inning.
Murphy goes down. And Christian Martinez gets through the 7th. Redding is our Jaguar performer of the game. After giving up the home run to Chris Coughlin, Redding has baffled the fish. Our Jaguar performer of the game. And here he faces Dan Uggla. Orioles backup catcher, looks like Guillermo Quiros was on that team. Quiros and Yusmeiro Petit won the Little League World Series with Maracaibo in 1994.
I knew our crack staff had it in them.
Actually, my MacBook had it in it. Found that on Orioles.com. Ugla takes outside.
You've gone Mac, haven't you?
I have. Ugla, Ross, Hermida. 7th inning. Marlins down 6. Ugla takes inside. We saw Redding wanted it. Redding last year against the Marlins, a real struggle. He was 1-4 in 6 starts against the Fish. His ERA close to 8. That ball is launched. If it stays fair, it's gone. It's deep. It's gone. And so Ugla homers here in the 7th for Dan, his 23rd of the season, and that makes it 8-3.
That's amazing. The 3 runs, solo home runs this afternoon by the Fish, 2 by Coughlin, and that bomb by Dan Ugla.
That's maybe what Redding has done best, is just limit the base runners.
You know, when you figure out this matchup, you think this is a good matchup for Marlins hitters. That's why Redding was 1-4 against the Marlins last year.
Ross swinging for the fence, and then Sullivan in left field makes the catch. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Guys, we somehow have an answer to our Facebook question today, which was, name this current Marlin pitcher who is one of only 3 pitchers with at least 18 appearances to not surrender an earned run during a day game. That was the question. We have a winner. The answer, Leo Nunez. I'm sure many of you knew. 18 appearances during day games in 2008 for the Kansas City Royals. He pitched 18 2/3, did not allow an earned run in those innings. He only surrendered 9 daytime hits and struck out 13 batters. So that's it for this round of Name That Marlin giveaways. Continue to be a fan of our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and keep tuning in to catch all the Marlin games on Sun Sports and Fox Sports Florida. And again, that address is facebook.com/Fox Sports Florida Sun Sports. And there's a link there. You can send a line if you want to Sam, our intern in Orlando, who came up with that question. You got that? Sam. Do not write Rich and Tommy. It's amazing we got a right answer, guys.
Does Sam have a circle of friends on that Facebook page?
I'm not sure Sam has many friends.
Oh, come on.
Nah, maybe a couple.
Sam used to be a Kansas City fan. That's how he knew that. He used to be a Royals fan.
When in doubt, blame the intern. Rita takes down low. Jeremy has doubled and popped out. Redding is approaching 90 pitches. And he strikes out Hermida. So Jeremy goes down. Paulino comes up. It's a Friday night tomorrow night. That means it's all-you-can-eat seats, one low price in the Marlins all-you-can-eat seats section. You get hot dogs, peanuts, nachos, sodas, and more from the comfort of your club seats. Tomorrow night, Marlins and Padres, 305-626-SAVE.
You know, earlier in the year, Redding had a couple of 7-inning outings, one against the Phillies in June, both in June, the other against St. Louis. Then remember, he had to go on the disabled list, went back down to the minor leagues. So he's made just 11 starts this year.
2-1. The Mets, when this ball game is done, have the Cubs. They get Ted Lilly tomorrow night, Ryan Dempster on Saturday.
That's right, they have that exciting Saturday game. Who's the matchup in that game? Dempster and
Bobby Parnell. Carlos Zambrano returns to face Nelson Figueroa on Sunday. Paulino walks, and the Marlins in a spot where they can bring up a pinch hitter now. And Martinez has given them the required innings. Jerry Manuel has seen enough of Tim Redding, who has pitched well in this one and is going to leave the ball game in line to pick up his second win of the season. So here's our Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Sanchez is pinch hitting. He takes a fastball up from Elmer Descends, who makes his second appearance of the series.
kind of thought Jerry Manuel would try to squeeze one more out of Tim Redding, but goes to his bullpen to bring in Descends.
6 2/3 from Redding, and Sanchez pops it up. Valdez makes the catch, and the Marlins' 7th is over. 5-run game. Mets on top. In day games, Braden Looper, Reno Pinto, Yorkis Perez, a all-star cast of characters. Middle relievers keep their team in the game. You two can stay in the game with just for men hair color. Kiko Calero in. Francoeur, Sullivan, Tatis. And the Marlins certainly hopeful that it's a quick inning for Calero. The last thing you want to do in a mop-up game is bring in a guy like Calero, who's valuable in your bullpen, and have him throw a 25-30 pitch inning.
You know, you look down into the bullpen, though, and you say, okay, who would be the choice? I know Sanchez has been busy. Probably like to stay away from Brian. Leo Nunez has saved 2 games in a row. He's been in the first 2 games of this series. Dan Meyer. Matt Lindstrom has pitched in a couple of games in this series. Christian Martinez has already pitched. So you have Reno Pinto and Kiko Calero that most likely would be the choices.
One and 2 to Francoeur. 2 RBI singles, a line drive out. He's 2 for 4 hits in the series. Outside corner, you don't see that very often. Francoeur taking a called strike 3 on a fastball. Let's check in with Craig.
I want to take a little jog with Nick Johnson, give you a little update as the Marlins put the first baseman on the DL yesterday, retro all the way back to last Monday. Well, today, actually some very encouraging news. Just that video alone will show you that he's doing much better. Jogging and actually running pretty hard, he told me, to center field with the watch of Sean Cunningham, the trainer right there. Nick said he hadn't felt as good as this since before the injury. I did ask him, so you're available to come off and play on Tuesday next week. Is that likely? And he couldn't lock it in. He said, look, it depends on how I feel, ground balls, how I feel. But it's much better. We'll see. Again, Tommy, you went through this, and all the guys who've had these. You can't just pinpoint, I'll be back in 4 days. They're very difficult injuries. Nate McLaughlin is going through it with the Braves, and we could see him back for the series against the Marlins. We'll see, though. That was encouraging news and video today. Our daily jog with Nick Johnson.
Yeah, hamstrings are really strange because you'll think they're okay. You'll go a couple of days and not do a whole lot, and then as soon as you try to extend, then you can feel it, and then what you usually do, you do more damage. So it's really a hard injury to deal with. But Rich, there's no question and we talked about it often, and it was very visible when Nick Johnson was in the lineup. It made a world of difference to everybody in the lineup.
1-2 to Sullivan, and he pops it up into the sun. One and 2. Mets at 57 and 70, having dropped 8 of their last 10. Of course, the Marlins have contributed to that with the first 2 games of this series, but a different story in this one. Calero gets a couple of strikeouts. Here comes Tatis.
Yeah, a loss today. The Marlins will go 7-5 against the Mets this year. But as you pointed out, they'll be back here, and the Marlins have one more visit to New York, to Citi Field. And between now and then, they better figure out how to get Fernando Tatis out.
And Tatis has had quite a series. So after this one, the Marlins have 6 with the Mets, 7 with Atlanta, 6 with the Phillies, 6 with the Nationals, 3 in St. Louis, 4 in Cincinnati, and the Padres series this weekend. Just as a comparison, the Rockies have 3 with the Mets, 3 with Milwaukee, 3 with St. Louis, 4 with Cincinnati. I believe 3 with the Dodgers, 6 with the Giants, 6 with the Padres, and 6 with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, the amazing thing about the Cincinnati series, the last time the Marlins saw Cincinnati was just a 2-game series here, May 4th and 5th.
Ball's hit a long way to left, and it's not coming back. Fernando Tatis has 6 hits in this series. That's his first home run and his 3rd RBI.
Now, like I said, they better figure out how to pitch to Tatis, because he is one consistent veteran bat in that lineup that can do just that. The other thing about a team like the Mets and in the state they're in right now, there's a fastball right down the pipe, is that they have a number of guys playing for next year. And if not with the Mets, with somebody. So you have guys like Santos. You have guys like Sullivan, Valdez, Anderson, Hernandez, all trying to play for next year.
That's a good point. 9-3. The Fish in the bottom of the 8th inning. And New York is going to dip into their bullpen a little bit further. Out of the pen comes Pedro Feliciano. He's going to face Chris Coghlan. And he's been one of the bright spots for the Fish with a couple of home runs. Padres tomorrow night, 3-game series. Both of Coghlan's homers coming off of Tim Redding.
And I think we've talked about this before. I think we'll see improvement in Chris Coghlan's at-bats and in his batting average over the years that he's a major leaguer against lefties.
Coghlan drops down a bunt. Tatis charges, not going to get him. Coghlan's aboard. So the Fish down by 6. Coghlan just trying to get on.
And he'll improve because he's smart. He knows how to play this game, and he knows what he has to do. He's a very good bunter, and we've seen that in his time here.
Here now is Glode. 0 for 3. Feliciano gets a strike, and it's 0-1. Marlins with the win last night have climbed to 8 over. 4.5 in the wild card, and that's behind Colorado. And Colorado and the Dodgers are underway. In the bottom of the first, the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead. I believe that's a Matt Kemp home run. A little flare out in the center field. That's going to fall, base hit. So Glode follows up the bunt with a hit of his own.
Well, a bunt and a flare. Sometimes that's the way rallies start.
You just got to keep the line moving at this point. Mets bullpen is scrambling to work. As Feliciano, here comes Jerry Manuel.
I think he's going to maybe make a move. Not sure who was getting loose, but he wants a right-hander. He can see, even with a 6-run lead, he doesn't want Hanley Ramirez facing Feliciano.
That right-hander has not been up and throwing very often. I think he only took a couple tosses in there. There's Armaruni called to the bullpen.
When you need a car.
And Hanley, he is only 2 hits shy of Castillo's record of 45 hits in August of '99. I asked Louis about it today. He said, I don't remember it. Rich?
And Hanley up there right now with runners first and second. The Marlins in a 6-run hole. And Sean Green comes out of the bullpen for the Mets.
And 2 nights ago, first game of this series, 49 pitches thrown by Green, and his 2 innings of work showed a touch of wildness. So again, you just have to be patient. As you said, Rich, keep the line moving and see what happens. And first and foremost, make him throw strikes.
As it doesn't come close to Hanley, it's 2-0. Hanley's base hit was in the 4th, as Craig noted. 43 hits this month. 5 hits in this series. Think about Green, though. On a 2-0 pitch like that, you can't really sit on a straight fastball because I don't think he throws anything straight.
No, you just have to do what Hanley did, just have to take a strike all the way.
Quickly, it's 2-2. Coughlin a bunt single. Glow dumped one into center. That was off of Pedro Feliciano. Green out of the bullpen. Count full now, 3-2.
Way overthrew that fastball. Missed badly.
Count's full. Hanley hits a ground ball out towards short. Valdez gets one. The turn is true. Hernandez and Valdez have looked very good up the middle today, and Hanley bounces into a double play.
Well, remember the first 2 games of this series, Hernandez played short. But Valdez is more of a pure shortstop. Anderson Hernandez is a good utility guy, so he moved over to second, and Valdez and the two of them have made some nice plays. Not what the Marlins wanted there.
Cantu. Green whips in a strike. Green with that heavy sinker, a tough guy to lift. He's given up 5 home runs. This is his 62nd appearance. Dodgers 2-0 in the second. That home run was Matt Kemp's 19th in Colorado. Nationals 5-2 over the Cubs in the 5th. Dunn has joined Zimmerman. Adam Dunn with 34. Ryan Zimmerman with 27. Aramis Ramirez is homered for the Cubs. All 3 runs for the Fish on solo homers. Cantu sends that into center field, hit on the line, but Pagan is there to make the catch. Marlins come up empty in the 8th. After winning the first 2 games of this series, the Mets came out and knocked Anibal Sanchez around. Emilio Bonifacio is in. He's at short. Reniel Pinto takes over on the mound. So Sanchez, Christian Martinez, Kiko Calero. And Calero gave up the Tatis home run. And now Pinto. Martinez had to go 2 1/3 inning in relief of Sanchez, who went 3 2/3.
Well, he settled down a little bit after he got that out in the 4th inning, struggled in the 5th, but then settled down and gave Freddie the 6th and 7th. And that certainly helped the bullpen.
Anderson Hernandez, pitcher's spot. Looks like Nick Evans is on deck. And then Angel Pagan in the 9th. Marlins will try to marshal their forces for the Padres tomorrow night.
Well, you talked about it last night, how they beat up on Atlanta. The Padres, in their 12-5 win, had 18 hits against the Braves last night. Eckstein had 3. Adrian Gonzalez had 3. Remember, we did not see David Eckstein in San Diego. He was on the DL.
Eckstein has been, or was, until he dropped out because his at-bats didn't qualify him. He was up around Hanley and Escobar in that batting average with runners in scoring position category. The other thing that Eckstein has done this year is play incredible defense. Moved over to second. He's made a total of 1 error in 105 games.
That's amazing. He has such sure hands. He always had a below average throwing arm from shortstop, but at second base, a piece of cake for David Eckstein. Of course,
and that's where he played in college.
That's where he played in college, and
Mark
Ellis played short. Yeah, at Florida. Mark Ellis still going strong with Oakland as a second baseman.
Eckstein hitting .348 with runners in scoring position. This is Nick Evans. Ground ball, Cantu backhands, Uggla turns. Nicely done. So 2 out to the 9th. Here comes Pagan.
Yeah, it is one of those things that always amazes you. You see the, used to be called, you don't hear too much, around the horn, a double play, 5-4-3, good backhand pick. And when this game was designed, 90 feet up the bases, around the horn, bang, bang, just get you going up the line.
Pagan 1 for 3. And Pinto out in front 0-2. Brian Stokes in the Mets bullpen. There was some speculation that K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, might be nursing some sort of an injury. That ball's hit pretty well to the left. And that one is gone. Angel Pagan joins the hit parade. Good sound effects on that home run as well.
Well, number 6 for Pagan, who has scored 3 runs today. He has 2 hits. He had a multi-homer game against the Phillies this past weekend, last Sunday. Hit 2 home runs in the game. One was an inside the park home run. No problem with this one on a high fastball.
Wilson Valdez with a couple of hits. And it's 1-1. In the dirt, Glode picks yet another one, saving an error from Bonifacio. Bottom of the 9th coming up, 10-3. FPNL.com. By Tobacco Free Florida. Tobacco Free Florida wants you to be tobacco free. By FPNL. To learn smart ways to conserve energy, log on to FPNL.com. And by Honda South Florida. Visit your South Florida Honda dealers online at sfhondadealers.com. Another sunny day in paradise in South Florida. Brian Stokes in to try to finish this off. Ugly yanks one foul. The Mets have a big lead. 10 runs, 17 hits for the Mets. 3 runs on 7 hits for the Fish. You see Stokes in his numbers. He takes over for Sean Green. Douglas home run to left, his 23rd. And now has 67 RBIs. He's also walked again.
I think that's the number that really jumps out at you when you look at the line of Dan Uggla and his offensive numbers.
On base percentage has been up around 350. Uggla takes that one. Stokes thought he had a strikeout. .73 walks. His career high is 77. He does lead the Marlins in strikeouts. Uggla with 110 of those, but he also leads the Marlins, other than Nick Johnson, who obviously was traded here 2 weeks ago. Leads everybody else in walks.
See if he has a good rip at a fastball here. 3-2 pitch from Stokes.
He did and fouls it back. If he stays at this pace as well, he's going to come under last year's strikeout totals, a career high 171 last year. High pop. And Tatis makes the play. Up comes Cody. Been a long day for Cody. He's 0 for 3. Kevin Correa, Chris Bolstad. On this diamond tomorrow night. 3-game series. And the Marlins are hoping that the Padres stay hot at least for another day. San Diego in Atlanta tonight. They get Javier Vasquez. Stokes has missed a couple times into Cody. Phillies are back in Pittsburgh tonight. Jay Happ against Charlie Morton. At Dodger lead 2-0 now in the 3rd in Colorado. And that's good news.
Dodgers needed that game last night.
Just to reassure themselves?
Yeah, just to kind of reestablish themselves to the Rockies.
Instead of a 1-game lead, it's back to a 3-game lead. Marlins live after the ball game. We'll break down Anibal Sanchez's start. Have sound from Freddie in the clubhouse. And an encore presentation. We've already had many hits on Twitter and Facebook. Tommy and my personal email accounts lobbying hard for an encore presentation of Meet the Mermaids. We'll also give you some sneak peeks at the Mermaids calendar. Hermida lofts that one into center field. It's going to nestle in for a base hit. This is a lot like the Marlins start to the 8th. There they had a couple runners aboard with nobody out. Hanley bounced into a double play. Here there's 2 on with 1 out.
Jeremy Hermida now 9 for his last 21. And you get hits like that when you play deep. And we talked about how Angel Pagan plays very deep in center field. It's shortened up a little bit compared to where he was earlier in the game, but he's starting to move back now. But you'll get a lot of balls dropping in front of him.
Like I said, you ask any pitcher where he would like his center fielder, and that pitcher will say, I'd rather have him play shallow than deep. Paulino, there's 1, there's 2, and the Mets capture game 3 of this series, salvaging a game. The Marlins get the first 2, the Mets get this one. So instead of a sweep, the Marlins have to settle for 2 of 3 against the Mets and hope for help. Hope that the Dodgers can continue their lead and beat the Rockies. Hope that the Padres stay hot tonight as well. 10-3. Mets beat the Marlins. Stick around. Marlins Live is coming up.